Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Football United TV, and welcome back to the Football Politics Show. I'm joined again by the man, the one and only Talk MU. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, thanks for that introduction, bro. Yeah, no, good. Yeah, it's all good on the. Sorry, go
on. You carry on. I'll continue after you.
No, I was just going to say everything's kind of a little bit uncertain for us at the moment in the footballing world because obviously with our injuries, etc. Waiting on news on that for the next game against Leicester. So it's a weird feeling because it's kind of melancholy because you're like, yes, the football's back, but then you're like, oh crap, are we going to be ready for that game? Do you know what I mean? It's a so strange feeling.
I don't know if we are, but I mean, God, we can only hope, can't we? I hope so. And we'll talk about that on Thursday for the United Across the Globe and, of course, on the Man United agenda. But today, on the Football Politics Show, we're talking about who's going to be the gaffer at Newcastle, because we know, not when, but we know that Steve Bruce imminently is going to be sacked at some point, whether it's after his 1,000th game. Tell us about that. Do you think that's fair? Like, he's one game away from his 1,000th game. Does he deserve? Does he deserve to have that game, or do you think just scrap him before it?
Do you know what I mean? Look, I think you've got to look at the. We talk about new manager bounce. This is new ownership bounce all day long for these players that are there right now. They know that there's bonuses galore are going to be happening. There's all kinds of stuff. So they're going to want to, try even harder themselves to try and impress because they don't want to be on the transfer list. So I believe it would be only right and proper and fair to give him that game. That's probably what's being discussed. I should imagine you've got that game. And then like if the players respond to the new excitement and the new possibilities at the club, he may well get a result out of them. But I don't believe it'd be anything that's going to keep him in his position. I just think, he's had a lot of time there to try and make things work. And you know what, it's a difficult job there at that club because, like we said before many times, it's a big club. Massive fan base, a lot of expectation. And you know what? Sometimes it just doesn't work out. But make no mistakes about it. I don't agree with all the crap that Steve's been getting. To be fair, because he's one of our own. He's one of our own. He's a legend. You know what? And at the end of the day, he will get another job in football. There's no two ways about it. So if he gets that game, I think he'll feel, especially if he gets that 1,000th game, and they put in a shift and they get a win. That'd be a great way for him to sign off. I think that'd be a great way for him to sign off. And then it will help him then going forward. He'll take a bit of time off, I'm sure. And then maybe look at coming in, to one of the lower level clubs. When I say that, I don't mean disrespectfully, but you know what I mean. One of the least expected clubs to do well in the Premier League. You probably may get a shot at that at some point, maybe after Christmas, January time, when we might see some managers, in a position of, shall we say, just danger, really, isn't it? You're in a dangerous position if you ain't accruing the points. So,
no, I agree.
That's what I think about that.
Well, Solo, actually, thank you for reminding me. He's 2 games away from the 1,000th game, so that makes it probably even a little bit more difficult. You were saying though, Talk, about Steve Bruce, just a little bit about Steve Bruce before we talk about new managers coming in. I mean, is it a little bit unfair to say that he couldn't do anything if he wasn't being backed by Mike Ashley, and now Mike Ashley's out, and he can be backed by the board, but they don't see him to be the person to take him to the next level. I don't think anybody does. Let's add that. But yeah, do you think it's to do with the fact that he hasn't been backed, and he was probably the only manager that would take on the job after Rafa Benitez, who clearly wanted more money, didn't he? More money? Sorry. Yeah, he wanted more money to spend out, and it weren't going to happen. I mean, what do you make of that, mate? Anyway, do you think that he hasn't been backed?
Well, look, firstly, you've got to think about this. Yeah, okay, he was only stepped up to the plate because he was quite obviously and quite clearly confident in his own abilities that he can actually do something at Newcastle. On the other hand, he should have known, because of this Rafa Benitez situation, when he went into that job, that I'm probably not going to get a lot of money to spend here. So he would have already known that, I'm sure. I don't think there was ever a conversation with him and Mike Ashley around, am I going to get money to spend? Because we all know what the answer would have been. Not unless you sell a few players, no, because I'm not prepared to invest in the club because I'm trying to sell it, So from that point of view, he must have thought that with what he had there, that he could have got a tune out of them. And to be fair, he didn't really do it, did he? He didn't do it. And so from that point of view, I just think, would he do it with better players? I mean, I don't know. And again, what we're going to find out here, Matt, is the real ambition of Newcastle United. We're going to find out exactly how quick they want things done by the type of manager they bring in. If they bring in somebody, go on.
But I'm just going to say about their ambition. I mean, if you're hearing that you're now the potentially richest club in the world, and we say potentially because they don't. I mean, the owners own that much money. That's not the money that Newcastle owns. That's just what the owner owns. It's not necessarily they're going to put in all of that money into the club. They're not going to do that. But they can definitely afford more than Man City and go. Steve Bruce wouldn't be the type of guy to be able to spend that sort of money and create a team anyway. No offense to Steve Bruce, but what can they do from here, Talk? I know you said that they had a few people in question. And by the way, Rebel Irishman Solo says, I thought this weekend was 1K. Now you've got me triggered. I don't know which one it is. So if anybody knows whether Steve Bruce's last game, we all know it probably will be his last game, but if it's his 1K game this weekend or not, I know it's very close, but what do you think, mate, about other managers coming in? Like, do you think it's disrespectful as well to him to ask people to come in before he's even been sacked?
Well, listen, again, this, you got to put yourself in this world, mate. You put yourself in this exceptionally competitive environment, where, let's have it right. This is another thing. I love Steve Bruce as a legend of the club, but let's not be mistaken here. It's not as if he's going to be getting kicked out on his backside, and he's got to walk home. You know what I mean? He's going to be getting kicked out with £8 million in his back pocket, getting driven home in his Bentley or his Range Rover or whatever it is he goes home in, right? So I'm not too concerned about that side of things. This is just all about, the dream being cut short and everything else. So from that point of view, how could you stump the ambition of a club that has been so underachieving, for so long? They come in now and it's like, right, the lights are on now, bang, party time. You don't hold the party back, whilst you wait for, the next door neighbour to go out. You know what I mean? You just go, everybody's here, let's get the music on and we're having a party, bang, it goes. So for me, I don't think there's too much to be read into that, if I'm honest with you. Like I say, it's now a question of who is it that they're going to actually go for, which is interesting.
It's very interesting.
I don't know what you've been looking at. I've seen a few names, banded about, but like I say, for me, we will get an idea of the ambition of Newcastle by the type of manager they bring in. You know what I mean? So someone like, I don't know, like Lampard, for example.
It's been thrown in there, isn't he? On the table, his name's been put out.
I don't know about that though. I mean, all they've got to do is they look at what he did with the team before he spent all the money, which seemed to be he was doing okay. Then he bought himself a puzzle, like I said many times, and he couldn't work it out quick enough. Whether we don't know if Frank Lampard would have actually been able to figure it out further down the line and actually started to get a tune out of that team and start doing well. We'll never know that. And it's all conjecture and, look at stats, look at this, look at that, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I just don't. It doesn't. For me, it doesn't seem to fit Frank Lampard and 434 billion, right? It doesn't add up that. So for me, I'm thinking maybe more someone like, this is it Favre, Lucien Favre. His name's been shouted about. I mean, you know what? He's won a few things. I think he's won some Swiss Super Cups, some Swiss leagues, and a Super Cup at Dortmund, something that he's won. He plays a very attack-minded game, and he's also he's a clever manager. He's a very clever manager at working oppositions out and that kind of stuff. So maybe, and it gets the team, at it. He gets them really, really at it and organised. So that in itself would be a sign that this they mean business here, and they want things done quick. But on the other hand, if they were to bring in someone like, a name that is now like Antonio Conte or Zinedine Zidane, because apparently Conte's put his name in the ring and said that he's interested. So, I mean, if that's true, I mean, and let's have it right. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that would be a possibility? Antonio Conte, he now sees Newcastle. He knows the Premier League. He knows Newcastle. He's played them many times. Well, I don't know how many times he's played them, but he has played them more than once, right? He understands the club because he's a football guy. And he's looking at this now and thinking, well, wait a minute. You've got a huge club, huge fan base, plus 50,000 at home every game. Loads of money here. I could go in. He could go in. Let's have it right, mate. Newcastle right now is a beautiful blank canvas, ready for because there isn't any real remnants of any successful period that they're hanging on to, is there? Because they haven't really had any. So it's all they've been planting the grass seed, but the grass it's not been growing. It shows promise, but then just stops growing. Then they go, oh crap, right, we'll have to dig that up and then start again. And that's what they've been doing time and time and time again. So now we've got this beautiful, like I say, clean canvas for them to go in and go, right, But what they want to do, Matt, in my opinion, I don't know if you'll agree, is Newcastle will want to get it right from the start. They will not want to be chopping and changing managers halfway through a season, or after a season. They'll want to get it right first time. And I think, this is why I think it's the bigger the name with the more success behind it, with what's on promise in terms of finances, would fit the bill, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. It's very difficult. It's very difficult because you look at it at Newcastle's perspective. They're like, right, get the best manager we can in that can keep us up, get us like at least mid-table finish for this season, and then we can look into the transfer window in the summer, bring in more players, and then build from there. But it's difficult because is it going to be a high-profile top manager to come in and sort out what they've got now, or is someone like Conte going to go, well, hang on a minute, like I'm quite a big deal, so why don't you get in somebody to sort your stuff out, and then I'll come in when the rebuild started. Now there's a different solution or a different side to that. He might want to be the person to build it up from bottom to top. That could be a possibility, but it's very rare that managers tend to do that. Now I know Jose Mourinho went to Tottenham. We kind of like looked at it and went, why would you go there? I know you got Harry Kane, you got some decent players at Tottenham, of course, but they were on the downslide, weren't they? So, and then when they sacked him before the final, so I just, you don't know with owners, mate. You really don't know when your time is up, when your time isn't. I wonder whether Antonio Conte would worry about that. Whether he went in and he didn't do too great, gone to mid-table, and they were like, now we're going to go and get Pep Guardiola, say, and it would hurt, wouldn't it?
Well, I know what you're saying, but look at it from this point of view as well. This is a chance for a manager like Antonio Conte. Clever. These are clever chaps we're talking about who understand football in and out, upside down, left and right. So you've got to look at it this way, where they think, wait a minute, this isn't like a one window or two window bag of money. This is an ongoing build. This is the chance to create and to start a legacy at a club that a lot of people would say should already be in the position that they want to be in. So from that point of view, you look at a manager like Antonio Conte, really ambitious, really confident, really proud, really he's up for the challenge. And you look at that and you think, well, okay, like I say, you put yourself in his shoes. You think, wait a minute, I've got a chance here to go to a club, right now, January transfer, 200 million, bang. He'll know a few players that he'll be able to get in to come to Newcastle who will help him straight off the bat. He will get him mid-table to be settled, wallop. Then in the summer, have more targets. And again, he will know that this is going to be a prolonged. What's the word? There's always going to be money. There's always going to be investment. There's always going to be backing. So when he needs it, but these are the kind of conversations that you'll have, and the owners will have with someone like Antonio Conte. Is look, we're willing to back. We will back you to the hilt. If you commit to us to building something here, we will back you to the hilt. Also, give you whatever it is that you require in terms of your own personal contract. Right? The world's his own. Then he could start something quite spectacular and see it through for what, like Pep now has been at City for what, 4 or 5 seasons, right? Mm-hmm. And he's done. I mean, let's have it right. Pep Guardiola's done absolute magic at Manchester City. He's done wonders. So you know what? You look at it from Newcastle's new owners' eyes. They'll look at someone like Antonio Conte who can, or maybe even Lucien Favre. They might be thinking that he could take something like this on, but they've got to commit. There's got to be this is a two-way street out here when you're talking about this kind of thing. It's like, look, we're interested in you. We're willing to commit to you in terms of backing you. Whatever you need in every window, we will give it you, FFP permitting, right? But you've got to commit to us also. So, this could be where now it could take a little bit of time to have that conversation and get that nailed down. And then, like you said, somebody may well come in, like a Lampard, like a
Gerrard.
Even Gerrard. This could be a stepping stone for Steven Gerrard. But would he leave a successful job at Rangers to go to Newcastle for maybe till the end of the season, and then knowing that after that it's like that's it, you've got to move on somewhere else?
Well, I guess you look at Brendan Rodgers leaving Celtic for Leicester. I mean, they argued about that, saying like, you've left Celtic for Leicester, but then he's gone, well, I can do a lot more, and I can get a lot more out of Leicester than I can Celtic, which he has every right to say, because you can. The Premier League is the most watched, the best watched league in the world. The Scottish League isn't really, is it? I don't even think it's probably maybe just scratching top 10. And that's about opinion, not necessarily facts. But I don't think it would harm Gerrard to at least have a look at it and see
where would it. The only problem I've got with that, Matt, is where does Gerrard go from there? He's give Rangers the elbow, goes to Newcastle, not guaranteed. It's like, well, he's going to ask the question if they ask him. So Lampard, look, wait a minute, this squad you've got is, it's okay, but I'm not going to guarantee I can do anything with it. I'm going to need money in the January window. They say, okay, well, there's 200 million there. Then it's a case of, well, that's fine, but how can I convince them new players that, look, I'm only going to be here till the end of the season, guys, right? So, but I still want you to do the best you can. And if you've got to have, like I was just talking about, having security for your manager with the owners in terms of long-term goals. There has to be that same feeling for the players. The players need to know that they're settled under a specific manager. under, because they're going to come in and be like, well, okay, well, you want me to play this system now like this until the end of the season, but then somebody else it's all going to go to a different direction. And, you don't need to be thinking that, do you, as a player? So this is what makes me believe that whoever they go for is going to be the long term. I don't think that they're going to be looking here to the only way that it'll be end of season type of arrangement will be if it's one of Steve Bruce's or a caretaker type manager, somebody we've not really heard of, a caretaker till they get something sorted with a big name. So unless again,
Tony
say that, well, yeah, then the other option is right, would they go for Sam Allardyce to come in and get them hard to beat? Do you know what? And just keep us up, Sam. We'll give you a massive bonus. You keep us up, we'll give you a huge bonus. I don't know. There's a trade-off. Sorry, that needs to be had in this whole debate.
It's a very, very good point. We'll go back onto that. It's a very good point, mate. I haven't even thought about answering that yet, but we'll read out a few comments here. There's quite a few actually. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Smash subscribe, share, like if you can. Really does help us out. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Solo from the Man United Agenda. Big up to you. Stay safe. Stay in bed. Don't get out of bed, mate. I told you. You never know. You never know, mate. Keep warm and make sure you're feeling better, bro. Big up Matt and Talk, he says. Talk MU. Is it you got a twin?
Yeah, I always like to say hello to everyone in the chat. Big up.
Big up from Talk, and he's on here now, so he can even say it verbally if you really want him to. Thank you so much, everybody, tuning in. Or could it be Zinedine Zidane? We did talk about this, didn't we? We'll go on to that in a minute. He's on 998 games, and the next game will be 999 in management. So I honestly believe they will give him his 1K. 1K before sacking him. I'm hoping there's no sucking involved.
Oh dear, Solo.
He's a lucky boy. He's a lucky manager and Gaffer. If he got that before he goes, bloody hell. Rebel Irishman. I thought this was so. This is confusing. I swear it was this weekend as well. But Solo says there's 2 games away. You can someone put it in the chat right now if you really know the real deal, because look, we don't sit on here and say like we know exactly what's going on. We're just talking about it. So if you do have the proof of how many games he's in now before 1K, that'd be great. Vivian, big up. If you want to, Vivian, if you want to come on and talk about this, Vivian, from a Nigerian perspective, because I know like Arsenal are a bit shaky about it because you don't have an owner that really can do anything, and now Newcastle have got their owners in. You could be worried. You could be very worried.
That's a good point, actually, Matt. I mean, yeah, Vivian, listen, I'd love to hear your side of this and how you think it affects the possibilities at your club. At Arsenal, how does this affect? Well, I suppose we can talk about that nearer the end. Quickly about the threat to other clubs and blah blah blah.
Talk clearly relegation for us.
Yeah, it's on the cards, mate. It's on the cards.
SVT TV says, hi guys, hopefully be up to doing hot off the press show tomorrow. Needed 2 days break, especially as I'm having blood tests at home due to starting new blood thinners. Big up my bros. Big yourself up, mate. Look after yourself, Stephen. Make sure you do that, and look forward to the show tomorrow. Big up Vivian and Solo. We'll go on to more comments in a minute. So yeah, what was you saying there? We were talking about Arsenal, weren't we? And the fact that they might be scared. Are there any other clubs there in the Premier League that could be scared of this takeover? I mean, it's happened. I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there will be, most definitely, but not just clubs, owners. Owners. Like I had the conversation with Nippon. I asked Nippon if does he believe that Roman Abramovich is going to now be comfortable in going into, into kind of new territory in terms of now there's other big boys on the block who are bigger than you now in terms of finances. Is he going to be willing to get into massive bidding wars, offering ridiculous wages, blah, 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 blah. And it's an interesting conversation to be had, that really, because I just think, this is going to change targets. This is going to change teams' targets now. You know, as soon as like the next big names start floating about, and Newcastle start flexing their financial muscle, you know, you're like, oh, okay, then we'll have to start looking at somebody else. So this could make things really tricky and also very interesting in terms of, you know, the politics of new owners who are wanting success, you know, and are they willing to spend the money now? Are they going to start? Are Manchester City's owners and Roman Abramovich going to step up to the challenge of, well, listen, you're going to buy, you're offering 100 million for him, we're offering 150. Right, okay, well, Roman goes back, or Man City go back and go, okay, well, we'll pay 170 million and we'll give you 300 grand a week. Newcastle, all right, well, we'll give you 190 million and we'll give you 500,000 a week's wages. Where do you stop? Do you know what I mean?
Talk. Do you know what actually just it's hit my brain? I remember Pep Guardiola talking about Bobby Robson, and he phoned him when he was at Barcelona. When Bobby Robson went back to Newcastle as a manager, he said it like, quote, he said he rang up Bobby Robson saying, "I want to come to Newcastle."
Okay.
Have you ever heard that?
No.
As a player, yeah, he's like, "I want to come and join you. I'd love to. I'd love to." And then Bobby Robson was like, "Yeah, you're too good for it, son." You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
But that makes you think that if Pep had such a close relationship with Bobby Robson, could he be turned by the money and the fact that in the past he has said that he would like to be a part of Newcastle Football Club in some way? I mean, could that lure him out of Man City at some point? Because he is going to leave Man City, isn't he? And he's going to want a new project as well.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to ask yourself the question: what is Pep's track record? We look at that. So he's gone from Barca into a sabbatical. He goes from that to Borussia Dortmund. He goes from, Bayern Munich, I should say. And then from there, did he have a break, then go to Man City?
A little break, a little bit of time in Maldives, you know what I mean? Like rubbing down
he likes to do that. Yeah, I think he likes to do that, doesn't he? He likes to go away and absorb what's just happened.
He does it perfectly, wouldn't you? If you was a manager, go, I'm having a break. Like imagine Steve Bruce gets 4 million when he leaves Newcastle, and he's like, let's go off to the Caribbean, let's go around the world for a couple of years, and then maybe I'll get a job when I get back. Perfect job, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, like you say, in terms of Pep Guardiola doing that, what's his got? Like, listen, I believe that this could be Pep's last season, because if he does not do it again, in the Champions League, and they just about scrape or even don't even win the Premier League, which I find hard to believe because I think they will. But let's just say those two things happened. I don't see him staying again. I really don't. I think that will totally knock the hunger out of him for that specific project, and I think he will think, you know what? Look, I've done everything I can here. It's time to go on. You know, move on. Would he go straight from there into Newcastle? I doubt it very much. I think he would want a break. He'd want to see somebody else, probably go in and say, okay, then, well, yeah, you're looking at such a body. You go in, let him go and have his go then. See how well he does. You know then what you're up against. You know what I mean? So, and he knew what he was up against when he come to City. You know what I mean? He knew exactly what he was up against.
I guess he had the team was already laid out, wasn't it? For him, he only had to add a few more people and change a few things. It wasn't like he was starting from the bottom, like when was it Mark Hughes? I think when the bid got taken over at Man City, Mark Hughes, I think, might have been the manager.
Yeah, I think he was. And I mean, so Pep had a kind of like the puzzle was sort of nearly there. You know, it was just a few pieces were in the wrong place and a few pieces missing, and he's had time to look at it from afar while he was away from football, because that's what he would have been doing. And he would have already had ideas of before he even got to the club. So as soon as he went into the club, you know, he knew exactly where he was going to start, what he was going to do. So I don't see that happening. Maybe at some point in the future, if things don't work out for whoever takes over at Newcastle, it might be a possibility. But I just think that they may be looking at, like I say, I think they want things to happen, and they want things to happen quick. You know, because you don't want to be kind of, taking your time too much when you've got this kind of backing, because at the end of the day, there's no need. Why do you need to take it easy? It makes no sense. It's like saying, I've just won 183 million on the Euro Millions, but I'm still going to go to the shops and get a tin of beans and a loaf of bread for me tea. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to the nearest expensive restaurant. You're going to splash.
I might save it for a rainy day. I might buy a new biro. But apart from that,
yeah, do you know what I mean? So listen, we all know what happens. They want it. They want things done, and they want it done quick, in my opinion. And in terms of the threat to other clubs, you know what? In terms of like the clubs who are, let's have it right. I don't. To me, as a Man United fan, I don't see them as a big threat to us yet. However, only because we're the most successful club in English football. We've got the most Premier Leagues, most league titles, a lot of FA Cups, League Cups, everything else. We've got a really great history, an illustrious history. We've got, there are still some signs of the winning mentality at the club. The whole club is about winning. They know what it takes to win. We've seen it. We've done it many, many times. So I don't feel threatened just at this moment, if I'm honest. But other clubs who haven't been doing so well lately over the past 10 years, where it's like it's been a struggle and there's, finances are questionable, I believe they will be squeaky bum time for them, most definitely. Yeah. But, like Arsenal, for example, I mean, I know we've got some Arsenal fans in the chat, but I can understand, I'd love to hear their opinion. I don't suppose Vivian can make it, no?
I'm not sure. I do know that she wrote this. Actually, I will shout. I'll read out a few more comments. We'll get to her comment, and then you can see what she says. Solo says they will give him till the end of the season, but the board will bring in their own players to start the rebuilding work of Newcastle. Big up Vivian, and he says not yet. 998 games at the moment. So that's from Solo. If he is wrong, you hunt him down, not me. Okay. Big up Solo. And here's from Vivian. They might allow him to get 1,000 games before he gets the sack. And she reckons that maybe they might go for Conte. I know Arsenal were looking at Conte as well, or had been. So would that be like an interest, a conflict of interest there? If he goes to Newcastle and snubs Arsenal.
Listen, what's the most attractive proposition right now for Antonio Conte? The Arsenal job, third biggest club in English football, right? Okay, that's fair enough. Some decent players, owners who, by all accounts, are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or a really big club, underachieving club with a huge loyal fan base, with owners who are going to say to you, listen, you commit to us, we commit to you. There's constant money to be spent in transfer windows. You build us up. You start from the bottom, mate, and build a legacy. I know which one I'd be going for. There's no two ways about it. You're going to go for the legacy. You're going to go and build. You're going to go and start from the bare canvas and create a beautiful piece of artwork. And then when it comes for you to walk away from it, you're going to, no doubt, leave a club in a much better position than it was when you arrived. And you are going to become part of that club's history. And this is what it's all about in this game, Matt. It's about, these managers, they do this because they want to win. They want to win. They know what it's like to win. The winning feeling is a great feeling when you play a team sport. It's marvelous. So I think I know where he would. For me, I know I would definitely, if it came out that both clubs had gone for him, I know where I'd be putting my money. I'd be putting everything I had on him going to Newcastle. No two ways about it.
Yeah, I completely agree on that, mate. I do. I feel if someone wants to go in as a manager, they want to be the one that created this new era. So Conte probably would be the perfect fit, but I don't think they'd want to stay with him for very long. He's not the sort of manager that does stay at clubs for very long, is he? He's not like Juventus. He left Inter Milan. They won the Serie A, and that was because he wasn't being backed by the board as well. So he has sort of got this thing about him, isn't he?
That's what I'm getting at. So it's when it comes down to, look, if you aren't going to back my ambition, why am I going to stay here? It just the fear of failing through lack of investment. It's a worry when you're a manager like Antonio Conte. You've got to match the ambition of the manager. So I believe that when it comes to Newcastle, he gets that backing and that promise of backing from Newcastle. It's a case of, well, okay, then you know what? Yeah, he could stay for. I mean, even like 5 or 6 years is enough to build. Like I said, the perfect example is Pep Guardiola. He took over from was it Mancini?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he took over from Mancini. I can't remember what he'd won, but I know he got the title and whatever else. But then when Pep came in, everything changed. It became
Wasn't it Pellegrini between Mancini?
It might have been, yeah, it might have been. I can't quite remember, but either way, Pepper's come in and turned it on its head. He turned English football on its head. Okay, with the type of football they were playing, blah blah blah. It was we'd seen.
Well, can I add on to that? Football. Apparently he the way he plays his football is used from what he sees in rugby.
Really?
Apparently, yeah, he likes the same style of play where like you shuffle it sideways, you keep moving the ball forwards like that, you're spreading it that way and that way to push forward. Yeah. And the object of rugby is to get as close to the line as you can, isn't it? And for some reason, he seems to adapt that into his style of play. Man City.
If you think about it, it's like, look, how do you, that is like one of the best ways, isn't it? Is to keep possession of the ball. Is when you, where is the most least danger? Where is there least danger on a football pitch when you're trying to pass the ball sideways? That's the least dangerous.
But it's sort of sideways forward, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like he's saying, sideways crappy back, sideways back. No, it's more like we're going up in a line, and we want you to all support the player on the ball.
Yeah, but then if you don't do that, and you do what we do sometimes, which is try and force it into the midfield, it's pressurized, and you're putting the ball into dangerous areas. If it's a danger, there's danger. The chance you lose the ball, which inevitably we do. So, or it ends up coming back to where it's come from, and we don't get any higher up the pitch. So that type of playing is what I've been saying all along for Man United with the defensive-minded midfielder to be the one he's the one who should start that movement up the pitch, and he's the one who he pushes it sideways to the wingers, the full-backs, the right backs, blah blah blah. And then they work it up that way, but we don't do that. We break down when we get to the midfield, because we inevitably get it up to the midfield, and then it either breaks down in the midfield, or it then just gets pushed out to the left, and then it breaks down from the left because the balls aren't going into the box and blah blah blah. But we're not talking about United. But no, yeah, listen.
We are talking about United. We are talking about United, and United.
Yeah, Newcastle. But no, I think for me, if they were to offer it to Antonio Conte, I think he would be rather interested in this project.
Yep, agreed. S. Featley TV says Vivian, Conte is not what they need right now. They need a manager that will bring them up the table until they're ready to challenge, then get someone like Conte, which I kind of agree with. I feel that they should sort of get somebody in who can, like you said as well, like someone like Sam Allardyce, possibly, just to see them out of the relegation, because they are in a relegation battle. I know it's early days, but they still are in a bad predicament at the moment. So they do need someone to just pull them out of that, at least.
Let's have it right, though, Matt. Let's have it right. So, I know what Stephen's saying here, but when have they ever been, apart from, what season was it under Pardew? Where did they finish under Pardew? They did a really decent season under him, I believe.
God, I hate quizzes.
Well, anyway, Pardew, I'm sure he had a really good season, one good season. So since then, they've done nothing. So what's the point in keep saying, I know that needs sweeping up, but should we do it later? We'll just let the draft like just keep moving it about a bit, and then we'll go and sweep it up later. You know, it's got to be done. Do it now. And this is why I don't believe that they're going to wait and hang around too long. They will be asking these questions to these big names, and like I say, if they're not up for it right now, then they're going to have to look at other options. As simple as that. But like I said, we'll soon see what their ambition is when we see the manager that is coming out that is nailed on for the job. You know, we'll see what their ambitions are. If it's a manager who's going to be like wanting to build a team and blah blah for the future and blah, 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 but then we know that they're going to be they want to be patient. They're going to take the time and build something, not chop and change. Or if they bring in a manager who's renowned for just coming straight in, making a few changes and bang, you know, it's going to be interesting. I don't know, but the Newcastle fans must be buzzing.
Breaking news: I hear Harry Redknapp has been offered the job at Newcastle United.
What? Hey, do you know what? Would that be a bad shout? I don't know.
I just think is he not retired now? Like,
yeah,
I think
he is,
isn't he?
You never forget about football. You never.
My boy Jamie will come in. He'll be the coach. You know what I mean? My boy Jamie.
Yeah.
My boy Frankie will do it. Frankie, he's the guy. I tell you, Frankie's the guy.
Frank Lampard.
Right to the top. Right to the top. I tell you. Right to the top.
I think. Do you know what? Let me ask you this: Do you see that as a good fit? Newcastle and Frank Lampard makes no sense to me.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. I think he needs to go back into management, probably Championship again to show again. I think, or someone in the. I say someone in the bottom of the Premier League, but Newcastle are. But with the money they got, it's not going to be the best appointment, I don't think. I do think Frank Lampard will be a good manager. The guy is intelligent, like on all aspects, like not just football. The guy is very intelligent. And I know that he can and he will eventually pick up where he left off at Chelsea. I do.
Possibility, yeah, but I don't see it happening at Newcastle. I just don't. I think it's a mismatch of ambition. If I'm honest,
I don't think so. Yeah, Solo says Steve Bruce is a Newcastle fan and he would prefer to manage the club than taking the 8 million in his pocket. I don't think so. I don't think anyone's a big enough Newcastle fan to discredit 8 million in your pocket. I'd leave Man United for 8 million, wouldn't you?
8 million is a lot of dosh, mate. Absolutely.
A lot of money. I could start my own Man United team. Come on.
Yeah, stacks of money. But, no, I mean, like I say, I think for me, it's going to be either the ones that are being touted. So your Favre, Conte, Steven Gerrard is the one that interests me a lot because let's have a look at it this way. Do we see Steven Gerrard having proved what he's proved at Rangers? Is he, do you think, best or well suited even to be coming into a club like Newcastle and starting to build something? Is that what Steven Gerrard's about?
Well, they're saying that he's apparently waiting for Liverpool. So, and I think Liverpool are looking at him as well a little bit. So it could be a good stepping stone if he does good at Newcastle. If he gets them into top 4 or top 6, and then Liverpool go, Jurgen Klopp's off. It's been another 2 years. You've been at Newcastle 2 years. You've got them in top 6. You've done very well, even though you've been backed with the money. We'll back you as well, and we'll take you. Maybe. I think they do want to bring Steven Gerrard back to Liverpool. So,
that's the difference here. That's the difference here, Matt. What you just said is we'll back you. But look, again, Liverpool's owners cannot compete. They can't compete with these guys. No way. They can't compete with City. They can't compete with Chelsea. Right? So
until they get a new bid in, then someone takes over it, and then they've got 400 billion.
Well, you know what? This could happen, mate. Innit? You know, these big clubs now.
This could be an opening door for many people now. Going, well, sod it. I'll buy Man United for $1 billion. If I've got 350 billion, $1 billion's nothing, is it? It's like buying a sandwich down the road at the petrol station.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at don't forget, Man United would cost a hell of a lot more than $1 billion. It's going to cost like 3.5, I think.
When you
It's
got
quite
stingy
high.
glaziers involved, yeah, it will definitely cost probably a lot more.
Yeah, but again, this is about. So you got to look at clubs now is where they've got to have really great managers who can get the best out of even average players, like Jurgen Klopp. I mean, Andy Robertson, where did he get him from? Hull, right? He got him from Hull, yeah. And the guys like lighting the world, setting the world alight. Trent Alexander-Arnold, he comes in. Mo Salah, I think, has been improved by Jurgen Klopp. Sadio Mane has been improved by Jurgen Klopp. So this is the trade-off here. It's like clubs are going to have to now start thinking, okay, look, we can't compete with you in terms of the finances, but it's these managers, specific managers who we know can actually get the best out of players, average players, and make them turn them into world beaters. So, how many managers are there like that around? Not a lot.
Not these days.
Not a lot. So Jurgen Stock's stock is going to rise massively. Managers like Jurgen Klopp, their stock is going to be so inflated now by other clubs. They're going to be like, "Whoa, shit! Wait a minute, we can't compete on a financial level, so we're going to have to get this manager or a manager like him." So maybe this is why this new guy, not new guy, but Lucien Favre is being touted because of his ability to get the best out of players, and his also his style of football that he plays. Attacking, intelligent football. So, get out, Matt. Ha ha ha. We are not relegation bound. Vivian, I have to concur. Love. Listen, Arsenal, they're going to be in League Two by 2023. I'm afraid. Away at Gillingham and Oldham.
Yeah, you're done for, Vivian. I'm so sorry. I think I agree with Talk there. I know we support the same team. We're going to agree about a lot of things. She also says Conte isn't who they need, but the owners will want to make a statement that they are ready for business and win trophies. Agree with that. And who else to get than a very ambitious manager? Very, very well put there. Very well put. And she also put Arsenal are certainly not scared. It's one thing having owners with the money, and it's another thing actually using the money to buy signings that will make impact. Stephen says this could damage inflation in the transfer market, further raising prices so high that clubs will need to have proposals such as the ESL to become reality in order to compete. But they weren't in the ESL, were they originally? So they would be
no.
They'd be top six, wouldn't they? But Tottenham or Arsenal wouldn't be, would they?
Yeah. I mean, again, this is why everybody was asking the question: why was Abramovich allowing Chelsea to be mentioned in this thing? Why were the City owners doing it? They didn't need to do that. So again, I think that the owners of Newcastle now and Manchester City and Roman, may well. I mean, listen, we don't know. Again, we don't know what the feeling is around, like Chelsea under Roman. What's his feeling right now? Again, has he got the appetite? Is he thinking, "Oh, dear me, do I need this now again? I'm going to compete with City. I'm going to compete with, even Leicester to a certain degree because they've got loads of money. Are we going to compete now with Newcastle? This could get really messy and, and also not just for players, but also for managers. It's because it's all right talking about player wages and player bonuses. You're also now got to talk about management. Let's say Chelsea going for ex-manager. Say, look, we'll give you 15 million wages a season on a 5-year deal, right, with bonuses of this, that, and the other. Then Newcastle say, yeah, but we're interested in you as well, mate. We'll give you 20, 30, 35, 40 million a season in wages. We'll give you what you want. It's crazy. They can do that. They can do it because, they're gonna some things are going to change around Newcastle in terms of how they compete in terms of the FFP arrangements. So that we may say something
with Newcastle as well that because Ashley has actually been making profit and not spending out too much, that they have a fair few years before they'd actually ever break financial fair play. So they can literally throw money at it at the moment, but eventually it will come to it where they'll look at it and go, are you making more money than you're putting out? And then they'll be like, no, then we're not. But then other clubs get away with that, don't they? Talk, we've seen.
Yeah.
So it's not a worry, is it really? I want to shout out a few more comments, Talk, then we'll shout out socials because we are 50 minutes in. Conte's never been that sort of manager to build a legacy. Well, he did it Inter Milan last year when they won the league for the first time in a very long time. And he left because he wasn't being back. So, I mean, to win the Serie A against Juventus for Inter Milan, who didn't really have the potential, it's not too bad. He's a manager they need once they start challenging the top positions in the league. Sure, I can come on. Where are you, Vivian? It's too late now. That was bloody too late. Too late. Next time, Vivian, we'll see you on Friday, won't we, for Gunners from All Corners? I think we might actually do that. We might bring that back a bit. Maybe do it on tomorrow or Thursday. We'll be in touch about that. I can also come on if you need me to, Matt. Always happy to help out, bro. We're good at the moment, bro. Honestly, we've gone 50 minutes. Thought it was a really good chat with Talk here about this. No one can compete with them. They have assets worth up to not 320 but 700 billion. It's ridiculous. The richest clubs in the world put together is still less than even a third of what they are worth. Very good comment there from Stephen. Talking me, what are you talking about? League Two. Arsenal are League Two worthy.
Yeah, it's happening, mate. You better be prepared, mate, because he knows I'm only winding. I'm winding.
Yeah, right. League Two indeed. Big up, Luca. How are you doing?
Yes.
You're a bit scared, aren't you? Bet you're a bit scared. Ooh, jitters to you Arsenal fans and to Spurs fans, I think, at the moment. And Stephen says, Matt, I'm up to host Gunners from All Corners to help my bro Marley. Yes, big up to Marley as well. Keep strong, bro. Everybody's with you. Okay, mate. Obviously, like, we're there with you, man. Thoughts are with you and your family and your friends and your loved ones. And keep cool. We're going to wrap it up there now. Talk. Any last things you want to say about this whole Newcastle saga?
No, just that I think that like I said before, they are going to want, in my opinion, they're going to want things to start to happen quickly. Because like you said, they've got a window of opportunity where they can, lay the money out without breaching FFP. And listen, they're going to make a few mistakes, but all clubs always make a few mistakes here and there when they're starting off like this. But they'll want to do that now rather than further down the line. So, but I'm expecting some loud noises from Newcastle in the very near future.
Do you think Steve Bruce is going to be gone before the 1000th game or after the 1000th game? That's the last question.
Well, look, let's have it right. How many games? There's only 7 games been played. This will be his 8th game, right? So there's 30 games for whoever comes in. 30 games. That's a lot of points to play for. I mean, I believe that they will allow it. They will allow it, and then he will, clap the fans, say his farewells, and they'll do it properly because they've got to put themselves in a good light here in terms of how they deal with their managers who are on their way out. If you're a manager who's looking at this club to go in, and you see them just being really nasty and be like, nah, you're not having that 1000th game. You've been shit. See you a bit trash. You don't even get mentioned, and he's gone. You're thinking, whoa, wait a minute. But if you see him do it correctly, handle the situation well, give him his 1000th game, whatever the outcome of that game be, and then they say thank you in a really nice way. They give him a decent send off, so to speak. Then excellent. That's the kind of image that Newcastle will want to portray. So, in my opinion, I believe that's how it will be done.
Very well put. Talk. Thank you so much for coming on with us today, mate. Really appreciate it. Just a few more comments here. Big up, Marley. I hope you recover well. Yes, mate. Hope you do, mate. You free tomorrow, guys, for a hot off the press? Yes, I am, mate. I'll speak to you about that. But Talk. Thank you, like I said, so much for coming on today. And you got to let us know where we can find you, mate. That's very important. Please do.
Well, yeah, usual places on Twitter at iTalkMU and the Man United Agenda. This channel, Devils United, and and occasionally just floating about from different channels, SVT TV, Rich Sports, blah blah blah.
Occasionally, you're everywhere, Paul. You're everywhere, mate.
I know. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've been known to be a bit of a tart. Myself about a bit, but you know what? That's just because I like talking about football, and if anybody will listen to it, I'll go on all night about it. But listen. Thanks for inviting me and having me on, mate. I always enjoy it. It's always a pleasure, mate, to come on here.
Hey, mate, you're a part of this. Like we love having you on, bro. You know, we have good chats like this for 55 minutes, just me and you. And you know, I've got no notes in front of me. I know people think like you must have hundreds of notes in front of you. The only note I've got in front of me is better get dinner on quickly because you're starving, Marvin. And that's about it. That's about it. That's all I've got in front of me is dinner plans. All right. Yeah. So everybody, thank you for tuning in today, and please subscribe, share, like if you can. I know it's difficult. You're like, why should I share? Why should I like? Who are these guys? But look, it helps us out. We will bring out a lot more decent content, and we have got lots coming up for you soon. Some very, very, very special guests coming on in the next month. And I mean, when I mean special, I mean, you know them and I know them, and I wouldn't shout that out unless I knew what's going on. And behind the scenes, it's going on. So
can I just add something? I was going to say something. I'm not going to give anything away, but I'm just going to say there's going to be a few people who's going to be picking their jaws up off the floor when they see who's coming on this channel. That's all I'm going to say.
Honestly, I've been working very hard, socializing, meeting people, and I've managed to scrape up a very few people to come on who are ex-legends and some players now. I ain't going to say any more because it might not happen still, but it's so close. So stay tuned to us. Go check out the Man United Agenda. I think they're on now, aren't they, Talk?
Are they on right now? Let's just have a quick look.
I think should be 8 o'clock tonight. Should be, surely. Solo.
I thought they were on tomorrow. Let me have a quick.
Maybe they've got
no.
Out tonight.
I think they're on tomorrow night. 18. Yeah, no, I think they're on tomorrow night. Actually,
they're on tomorrow night. So everybody.
Yes, there's a show tomorrow night on the Man United Agenda, and it's going to be talking about our problems at the moment and uncertainty around the coaching setup. So, because there's a lot of talk about that at the moment, so that's what the show will be about.
Good. Go check out them tomorrow, 8 o'clock, and we'll be on Thursday at 7 o'clock with United Across the Globe, all things Man United, and then Guns from All Corners in the next couple of days, maybe Friday. We'll keep you updated on that. Until then, everybody, have a pleasant rest of your week. Enjoy October, and we shall see you soon. Ciao.